Hey guys, good morning, Sabrina. This is going to be a little bit different video, and that is because what I'm going to say is probably going to quote unquote ruffle some feathers. That's not my intention. My intention is to help people, and sometimes to help people you have to ruffle their feathers. I've had to ruffle my own. I've had to have other people ruffle mine. And that's because I did not want to allow myself to stay where I was at. I don't want to allow myself to stay even where I'm at now. While I've had substantial progress and I'm doing much better, I'm not where I want to be yet. And to get where I need to go, sometimes I have to ruffle feathers, my own, and I have to allow other people to ruffle mine. There's a few videos I'm going to start doing, and those are going to be kind of more educational, but at the same time putting a personal twist on them, talking about the 10 core traits of perfectly hidden depression and how that looks, how to get through. I guess not from a medically expert opinion, but as someone who's walking through it, what have I done to be able to overcome some of these things and push through? The first one I'm going to do, even before that, is going to be about what not to say to somebody who's struggling with depression, because I think that's critical. It's not always what you say, it's the intention with which it's said that makes a substantial difference in someone's life, especially someone who's battling depression. Depression is a very slippery slope. And if you don't evaluate your biases and check your motivation for saying things, and then make sure that what you're saying is done in love, it can send someone spiraling down rather quickly. And you need to be aware of those things. So that's going to be one of the first videos I'm doing, but I decided to do this one first, and I think that's because it's critical. For anybody that's wanting to get better, there's something that we all have to do, something I did about 1.5 years ago, that while it did not bring me perfect, complete, and instantaneous health and healing, it started me on the journey to get to those things, to get where I'm at and where I'm headed. And that is accepting ownership for my depression. I had to accept responsibility for myself. Do not let your depression dictate your outcome. And I know we talk about those things when we're dealing with emotions, and we're talking about behaviors, and we're talking about things with our children or friends and loved ones. We'll make comments like that about, don't let your emotions get the best of you, and don't let your bad choices ruin good options. And we say those things, and we really mean them. And it's important that we really stop and think about those things. I think in a world that gives so much to feelings, I feel this way, or I feel this way, it's very important to stop and evaluate those sayings and our thoughts on that. There's a lot of times I feel certain ways, but if I allow myself to give into those feelings, that will change the course of my life. That will change my final outcome. And I don't want that. I don't want that for anyone. So what I want to say is, if you want to get health, if you want to get healing, you have to first accept responsibility for yourself. You have to take ownership of your depression. And what does that look like? It's definitely easier said than done. And I say that from a point of experience. And if I hadn't taken ownership of my depression 1.5 years ago, I can honestly 100% say that I probably would not be here right now. There were times this past year that the only reason I went through and made it through is because I had taken responsibility for myself. And what I was going through. And I had started getting help. I had increased the dosage on my antidepressants. I had started seeing a therapist that helped me start processing through where I was at, why I was where I was at, and where I want to get, and how to get there. And that was hard. It's been a hard journey, but I'm beginning to see the fruits of that journey. And it's been a long process, and it hasn't been easy. And there have been days that it has been hell. And there's been days I've succeeded. There have been days that I have failed. But overall, because I accepted responsibility for myself and I decided no more excuses, I'm not going to allow myself to make depression an excuse. Because I did that. I'm where I'm at now, which is so much further than I was a year ago, 6 months ago, even a few months ago. In any role that we have in life, we have to accept ownership. We have to take ownership. We have to accept responsibility, become accountable for our role. If you are struggling with heart disease, you have to accept responsibility for yourself. There's only so much that medication can do. You have to make diet changes. You have to start exercising. You have to take yourself to your appointments, seek out right therapies and the right physicians. If you're dealing with, diabetes, you're going to start medications. You're going to try different medications, and it may be several different medications you go through before you find the right one that works in combination with lifestyle modifications. And it's not easy. But if you give up, you are more likely to die. It's no different with mental health issues such as depression. You have to take ownership. You have to start seeking out the right kind of help. And there may be multiple medications you go through before you find the right one that works for you. There may be different therapists that you try before you find the one that actually works for you. But so many people give up. And I'm wondering if it's not because they want an excuse to wallow. I've been there, and I didn't want to get up. I wanted to stay where I was at because it was easier to wallow. And honestly, I felt like I deserved that pain. I deserved to be miserable. My kids deserved more. My family deserved more than what I was giving them. I deserved more. And honestly, God created me for a purpose. While I struggle with that a lot of times and have a hard time believing that, I believe that God is who He says He is. So I have to rely on that. I have to lean on that He knows better than I do. Whatever your reasoning, you've got to find something to hold on to. And it all starts, you have to start accepting responsibility for yourself. Do not let your depression become an excuse to stay where you're at, to be unhealthy, to be miserable. I want to encourage you. Seek help. Go to your doctor if you need to. If you haven't tried antidepressants and you're really struggling, go to the physician and talk to them. Find an antidepressant that's right for you. Give it time to work. Find a therapist. If one doesn't work, you try another one. But be open. Be committed. Be committed to your own health. I had friends that ruffled my feathers when I was going through this stuff that would tell me in love what I needed to hear. And it was what I needed to hear. Now, were they insensitive? No. Was it harsh? Sometimes. But they were listening to me. They understood, and I was able to explain, this is depression. This is where I'm at. And while I think it's important that we understand the depression, that we embrace our position with it, we embrace the fact that this is what we're dealing with. You can't just push it off and deny it. You can't just stuff it down and turn away and go, no, it doesn't exist. Because it does. and it's real. But while we do that, you also can't allow it to be an excuse, or you're going to stay where you're at, and you're never going to get better. Depression isn't one of those things that just gets better. You've got to work on it. So I want to encourage you, don't let depression determine your outcome. Don't let it be an excuse. Start today. Accept responsibility. Take ownership. Start doing the things you need to do. It's the only way you're going to get where you want to go. Hope you guys are blessed. Have a great day. See you next time.